Very good. Thank you. I think it was Imani who had done it. Thank you very much. Appreciated for your effort. Right. So we shall come back and we are trying to now discuss related to the rest of the analysis that we are performing using Stata. So Buddha, I hope now you have got up and running Stata without any issue. Okay. So I have put the newest links, the updated links, and it should work like a charm. Okay. Because version 19 is a very versatile version that works very well. Okay. How many of you have installed Stata now? Have you installed Stata? Installed in the sense, at least in your pen drive, and who had exercised? Can you raise your hands that who has got a Stata up and running in your machines? Yes, I can see hands going up. Only 3? Okay, 5. Only 5 students? Okay, 9. Okay, good, good, good. So I can see 11 people who have done it. Okay, Buddha, you can put your hands down. So yes, please practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. Isn't it? Practice makes perfect. Therefore, please do the exercises and please rehearse, because for you the fortunate thing is the video recording is also there. For each and every lecture, the video recording is also there. So therefore, please look at that and then practice them. So that's the way out. Right? Stata is now, then we'll have classroom exercises, right? And then in these classroom exercises that you will require to perform this analysis and get the results. So you won't be able to do that unless you have practiced. So therefore, kindly practice them. So it will be good for a lot of things. Okay. Right. Now let me share the screen with you. And let's go to the elements. Right. Now, in the elements, you will see there are a lot of materials, the links and other things are there. And then under week 5, today we are going to discuss about, as I told you, the correlation analysis. We have discussed and finished the regression analysis. And today I'm going to discuss the correlation analysis. So far we have discussed descriptive analysis. So if I ask you, what was the main purpose of performing descriptive analysis? What was the main purpose of performing descriptive analysis? Can someone tell? Anyone? You can unmute yourself and you can tell me why you perform a descriptive analysis. Hmm? No reason. Hmm. What's the purpose of performing a descriptive analysis? What was the reason? The reason was to describe the sample. Descriptive analysis. To describe the sample. Then we understood there are several techniques that we used to describe the sample. So particularly based on whether it's a categorical variable or whether it's a continuous variable. So what was the categorical? Now, what was the analysis that we performed for the categorical variable? What was the analysis we performed?
Perform a frequency analysis.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. We performed a frequency analysis. Excellent. Very good. Thank you, Buddha, for answering a question because no one was answering, but then you came forward and you answered. It's really noteworthy. I really appreciate that. Yes. Categorical variables, you perform a frequency analysis. Then if it is a continuous variable, like age, measured the actual age, rather than as categories, then what's the analysis you perform? There's a number of analyses you can perform. Can you name five? If it is a continuous variable, what's the analysis you perform?
Mean, medium, and
Very good, very good, very good. Excellent. Again, thank you. Again, thank you very much, Buddha, for answering the question. Yes, indeed, you are absolutely correct. Right. So what we do is for a variable like age, right? What we perform was we calculated measures of central tendency, mean, median, mode. Those are called measures of central tendency, as you very correctly told. Then measures of dispersion, we understood. What are the measures of dispersion we understood? The range, interquartile range, minimum, maximum, right? Those defined, and standard deviation, indeed, those define measures of what? Dispersion. And also we discussed measures of distribution. What were the measures of distribution that we discussed for a continuous variable? Now, if you are unable to answer these questions, that means you have not revised. You have not watched the videos, you have not come to the class, you have not taken down notes. So that's it. That would be leading to a disaster. So the disaster would be you are going to, unfortunately, fail this subject, right? So therefore, still, of course, there's enough time. Still, we are at the beginning almost. So there's enough time. Therefore, I recommend all my good students to go through the notes. Take down notes number one, go through the notes, go through the videos, and make make a comprehensive note for you. Right? If not, unfortunately, you won't be able to succeed at the exams. If you fail this subject, that means you are unable to complete your degree. So therefore, there's a huge stake, isn't it? And I don't think here anyone would like to fail their degree because it has a huge cost, a direct cost as well as an indirect cost. Right? So therefore, what you could do is you could study. Right? Study, you could take down notes, and you can look at the slides, you can look at the videos, then you can take down notes, and you can study. Studying is a must. For that, you need to allocate time. Unless you allocate time in your calendar, it won't get done. Right? To get things done, you have to allocate it in the calendar. So how many of you have allocated some time in your calendars for studies other than the lecture hours that are scheduled by SEP? That's not an allocation done by you. It's an allocation done by SEP, right? Saturdays and Sundays, and maybe some weekdays like this, right? Today and Friday we are going to meet. But other than that, how many of you have allocated some time for studies in your schedules? Have you left it to motivation? When you get motivated, you are going to study. It won't work. That motivation usually never comes, isn't it? That motivation usually never comes. So therefore, my good students, what I recommend you is to allocate at least 1 hour, right? At least 1 hour in the early morning or in the midnight based on your preference, at least 1 hour for studies. Or at least 30 minutes. If 1 hour is too much, 30 minutes not a big deal, right? So therefore, unless you do that, you might not be in a position to complete successfully the examination, right? I'm telling this in a very good faith because I like to see my all good students pass this subject and go forward. Okay, so students take this very serious. Allocate time, 30 minutes per day, not a big deal, right? You see, if I put that to perspective, see how much time you waste on not so essential tasks like Facebook and some other, watching teledramas, watching TV, or whatever other things, gossiping, right? Maybe traveling, right? Sometimes traveling takes about 1 hour or 2 hours. It's completely waste, but again, we cannot do anything about that. But a clever student even would take, that as an opportunity to study, right? So I could remember I was sometimes traveling in very crowded buses those days as a student. And what I did was I recorded my lectures and I was listening while I was traveling, right? Because I could not read because it was so crowded. There were people on my head, on my shoulders, on my back, everywhere people were there. And then what I was doing is I was listening to the lecture recordings. So I recorded, now I made a short note. What I did was uh, I went through first the lecture recordings or whatever, what I had already recorded. And then what I did was I look at the notes and I made a small short note. And then what I did was I recorded it by my own voice because it was efficient. And then I was listening to that while I was traveling. So that was very successful. I was using my unproductive time for a productive activity. So you need to be creative. If you are creative, you can expand time. You can use time, and if you tell that you have no time, then that's a false assertion. Okay, then again, let's come to back, right, to the measures of distribution. So what were the measures of distribution that we discussed?
Skewness and
Very good. Very good, Buddha. Very good. Excellent. Skewness and kurtosis. Very, very nice. So those are the answers for the skewness and kurtosis. So you could see why some students could answer and why others could not answer, right? Because they took down notes, they went through this again, and they revised. The secret of success as a student is your commitment. Commitment doesn't come out. There is 1 week for the exam. During the study leave, you cannot absorb all. It's like trying to eat all your meals within 1 day. You keep hungry for 30 days, and then in the last day, you are trying to eat all 30 meals. You can't do that. Education also same thing. You cannot absorb all the things within 1 day, which is an absolute calamity, right? So you cannot do that. So what you could do is you could absorb it little by little. Medication is also like that. Now, doctors give medicine. 6 hours time, you have this, right? So, but to get well soon, within one instance, can you consume all the medication given to you? All the tablets within one time? That will necessarily kill you, right? So, so that's going to happen. So therefore, likewise, like medicine or like food, right? It takes time to absorb and then to have its effect. So likewise, students, please kindly allocate time. Allocate time. Time allocation is very important. So I'm using Google Calendar and I allocate time. I make sure I allocate time so I'll be able to do things in the proper time. And also I'll have adequate time to do those things. Okay. Right. So then we also discussed another type of measures of location. What are measures of location which we discussed?
Quartiles and percentiles.
Very good, excellent. Quartiles and percentiles. Very nice. Quartiles and percentiles. So quartiles we discussed Q1, Q2, and Q3. Q2 is similar to what? Q2. The exact midpoint is known as what also? We refer to that using some other name also. What's there? That's the median, exact midpoint. So measures of locations are those things. Quartiles as well as percentiles. The 50th percentile is the median, or we call it Q2, right? So we discussed all these things and we applied, and we now know how to use data to do that. So we earlier understood how to import data from Excel to Stata and how to create a data set in Stata. What are the rules, etc., etc. Now we have an understanding. Now, today I'm going to extend our analysis that we are discussing. So we discussed now the basic Stata commands. Then after that we came into descriptive analysis. And today I'm going to discuss correlation analysis. Okay, today I'm going to discuss correlation analysis. So in your lab notebooks, Puta, take down, right, whatever the notebook that you have or piece of paper, you can take down correlation analysis. Correlation analysis. And here I have uploaded certain material under week 5, the correlation materials. So please download the correlation materials, Stata session 3 correlation analysis. So first let's download the PowerPoint file, right, and open it. Right. First of all, let's try to understand what's correlation analysis and what's the difference between correlation and causation. Those kind of things we'll try to understand. Okay, right. So let's see what's correlation analysis. We have already done that, but again, correlation analysis looks at the relationship or the association between two variables. Now, for an example, you could say the advertising expenditure or the advertising expense and sales. So there are two variables. Advertising expense is there, then there's sales. Now, advertising expenditure is what? We call the independent variable because that causes the other variable, advertising expense. Then sales is the dependent variable. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to look at the association between these two variables. It can be anything, right? Age and life satisfaction, right? Age and stress level. So those are all associations we are trying to look at. And for you, maybe number of hours a student study. And we could look at what? We could look at the marks that you get, the grades that you get. So apparently you can see there could be positive associations as well as negative associations. Sometimes there might be no associations at all. Okay, so under the correlation analysis, we try to look at what? The relationship, the association between two variables. Is that clear? Right, looking at the association. So we call this a bivariate analysis. Why we call it a bivariate analysis? You can see the first point says it's a bivariate analysis. Why it's a bivariate analysis? Because we call a bicycle why? Because it has two wheels, right? Bicycle, we call a bicycle because it has two cycles, two wheels. Then why we call this a bivariate analysis? Because it involves only two variables. For an example, advertising expense and sales. Two variables. So that's why we call it a bivariate analysis. However, we take descriptive, we denote or we call descriptive analysis as a univariate analysis. Why? Because you take one variable and describe them. For an example, you will take age variable and you will describe, okay, what's the mean value, what's the median, what's the standard deviation, those kind of things. So that's called a univariate analysis. Descriptive analysis is what? A univariate analysis, set of univariate analyses that you can perform. Univariate. Because you take one variable and you describe. But in a correlation analysis, what you do is you take two variables and you look at the relationship. So that's what we call it a bivariate analysis. Now you can take down these notes, right? So I have given briefly and you can say, okay, descriptive analysis is a univariate analysis. Then correlation describes the relationship between two variables and you compute something called a correlation coefficient. You compute a correlation coefficient which ranges from -1 to +1. The correlation coefficient shows -1 to +1. -1 means a very strong, almost perfect negative relationship. And then +1 is a perfectly positive relationship, a very strong positive relationship. So you can see by looking at the minus or plus, you can even see the direction of the relationship. Right? Sales expense and let's say advertising expense and sales. Right? What kind of a relationship do you expect? When you increase the advertising budget, what happens to your sales usually? Sales should go up or down?
Go up.
Go up, indeed. So therefore, that's why we say if one variable goes up, the other variable also goes up, then we call it a what kind of positive relationship. But sometimes there could be negative relationships as well. Of course. So you can see by looking at the correlation coefficient, we could tell the strength as well as the direction of the relationship. But however, you have to understand now for these are the, before we go to the however thing, we'll come to this advertising expenditure and the sales revenue. Advertising expenditure is the independent variable and the sales revenue is the dependent variable. Because independent variable and independent. Why it's independent? Because it's what causes the other thing, sales revenue, impacts the other one, right? That's sales revenue. So these are some examples. And this correlation coefficient, as I told you, plus or minus, it could range from 0 to 1. So it can be here minus 0.1 to minus 0.2 likewise. But however, we interpret these correlations like this. We'll say 0.01 to 0.2, it's a very weak relationship. 0.2 to 0.4, weak relationship. 0.4 to 0.6, moderate relationship. Then 0.6 to 0.8, strong relationship. Then 0.8 to 1, very strong relationship. So these are the correlation coefficients that the interpretations for these ranges. Now, if you see a correlation coefficient, I will calculate using stata, then you'll be able to look at this and you will be able to interpret the correlation coefficient based on this scheme. Okay. So here, this is also applicable to now minus values. So for an example, if it is minus 50, minus 0.50, then how would you interpret the result? Minus 50. How do you interpret that? You will call it what? A moderate negative relationship. Right? Minus 50 is in the range of 0.4 to 0.6. Moderate negative relationship. But there's a caution I had to tell you. That correlation not necessarily indicate causation. Causation is cause and effect. Causation is cause and effect. Correlation just explains the association. Just explains the association or the relationship between two variables, but it doesn't necessarily indicate the causation. The causation, right? So what do you mean by that? Let me explain to you. In America, right, Trump, American President Trump tried to do a analysis. What was the analysis? What he did was he took the ice cream consumption from 1970s till 2024, and he also took the drowning deaths. People drown and die, unfortunately. And in Sri Lanka, we saw very unfortunate drowning incidents. But I don't know whether there's no water within their home premises. Right? So many people go and, right, for fun, they kill themselves. Right? What a pity. Young lives lost. So they don't even look at the warning signs around, and they go to unknown places, tanks and waterways and waterfalls, and they try to be heroes. And their main intention is fun and taking selfie. Right? The problem is, right, they lose their lives. Therefore, if you go to an unknown place, number one, right, you ask around whether it's a safe place to bathe or to do some other activity. And if there's no one, then don't do that. And two young girls lost their lives. Very, very unfortunate. But however, this what in America. So Trump got the ice cream consumption as well as drowning deaths. What he did was from 1970 to 2024, what he did was he ran a correlation analysis. Yes, he got data and he ran a correlation analysis. He got 0.85 plus 0.85 as the correlation coefficient. So if it is 0.85, how do you interpret the result? How do you interpret? He interpret, right? Like what? There's a very strong relationship between ice cream consumption and drowning death. Right? Now my question to you is, can ice cream consumption lead to drowning deaths? He is now trying to suggest that. He's trying to ban, right? If you look at the CNN, now, right, he's trying to ban. There's the most newest news, I don't know if you know that, right? He's trying to ban ice cream consumption, telling that it leads to drowning deaths. Is it correct? Is ice cream consumption leading to drowning deaths? Is this leading to this?
No, sir.
No, not at all. Actually, ice cream consumption, now, what he saw was 0.85 positive. So, what he saw was when ice cream consumption goes up, drowning deaths also goes up. That's what he saw. And then he's trying to now interpret that by saying what? Ice cream consumption leads to drowning deaths, which is absolutely not possible. So actually what has happened? Temperature is the variable. There's a third variable. When temperature goes up, what happens? Right? In America, we can see, right? We can see what? We can see there's summer and winter, like the temperature goes up and down, right? So let me take this. So when temperature goes up, what happens? Automatically, what happens? Ice cream consumption goes up because people eat ice cream to cool themselves. And also when temperature goes up, it increases drowning deaths. Why? Because then people in hot summer seasons, the people, they use more waterways like waterfalls, they go to the sea, they go to rivers, etc., etc. So naturally, the drowning deaths goes up. Naturally, drowning deaths goes up. When the temperature goes up, because people use more water. Not that ice cream consumption leads to drowning deaths, right? But here you can see when temperature goes up, the third variable goes up, ice cream consumption and drowning deaths goes up. So this is the point what I want to tell, right? By looking at, you can take any variable like Trump had done and see the correlation. But it necessarily doesn't mean that there is what? There's what? A cause and effect relationship, right? It doesn't necessarily mean there's a cause and effect relationship. It can mean or it cannot mean, right? So therefore, that's why earlier it was 0.85 and he was trying to interpret that ice cream consumption leads to down index. But actually what had happened was there was a third variable. When it increased, both the ice cream consumption and down index both went up, right? So this is what you have to understand. This is what you have to understand, right? Correlation, that's what I have given here. Correlation does not necessarily indicate, it might or might not necessarily indicate causation. Causation is cause and effect, right? Correlation only establishes there's an association. That's all. So it reflects the amount of variability that is shared between two variables. Is that clear to you? Correlation does not necessarily mean causation. Correlation just says there's an association. That association might be just random association, right? So if Trump is now trying to ban ice cream because of drowning deaths, is it a valid point? No. So by the way, it's a made up story, right? Trump did not do that. And I don't think he has an idea what's correlation and what's data. So I just made up the story, right? So to make you understand that, but he has some very crazy ideas. During COVID-19 period, he was telling what? Drink sanitary liquid to cure COVID-19. So likewise, he has made these kind of complete foolish assertions. But now you can understand correlation and causation are two different things, right? Just because there's a correlation, we cannot say that there's a real relationship. Okay? Is it clear? So far, what I explained was these things. So I was explaining to you that correlation is a bivariate analysis. Why we call it a bivariate analysis? Because it involves two variables. Then also I was telling you that, right, correlation by looking at the correlation coefficient, you could tell the strength of the relationship as well as direction of the relationship, strength and the direction. Then I gave you some examples for correlation, right? Advertising expenditure, sales revenue, right? Then the age and life satisfaction, age and stress level, those kind of things can be taken as examples. Then I explained to you that how to interpret the correlation coefficient, whether it's minus or plus. So it ranges from 0 to 1. So 0.01 to 0.2, we could call it a very weak relationship. Then 0.8 to 1 is a very strong relationship. Then I gave you a quotient, and I was telling you by taking a made-up example, right, that, right, the difference between correlation and causation. Causation is cause and effect. The term causation comes from the term cause and effect, right? Okay. So not necessarily, right, the correlation would indicate a causation. It just indicates that there is an association. That's all. Any two random variables could have an association. Right. Ice cream consumption and down index. Then we can also use a scatter diagram, or some people call it a scatter plot diagram or a dot diagram, to visually look at the correlation to visually see the relationship between two variables. Right? That's what we want to do. Now let's take an example. Now I reminded you the theory. Right? Now let's look at this example. Now you can see here, these are set of employees. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 employees are there. And their satisfaction levels in a 1 to 4 Likert scale is given. Right? What are they? Their salary and satisfaction. Also, their absenteeism levels are given. The next slide, right? Their salary and height level. Next slide. Their salary and height are also given. Right? So, what do you think? Salary and employee satisfaction. Is there a relationship, an association between those two? Salary and employee satisfaction, when your compensation, some people here might be getting salaries indeed, some people might be getting allowances. When your salaries or allowances goes up, right? Whether your satisfaction goes up? Usually, yes, isn't it? So that's what we are going to try to see. Then salary and employee absenteeism. When salary goes up, what happens to absenteeism? People get motivated and they become less absent. Right. So likewise, we can see a positive correlation as well as a negative correlation. First thing what we can do is we can draw a scatter diagram, a dot diagram, and see whether there's a relationship. Okay. Right. To do this, what we can do is we can go to the LMS and we can download this data file for this. Shall we do that first of all? So let's go to, and you can see that there's data session 2 and station 3, station 3, likewise there are salary and site. So here are these files. So let's download, let's see what's this file. So this file is an SPSS file, and this file, salary site, is basically this one. The first one is a data file. This is data. The first one, please download the first one. I'll remove the second one, not to make you confused. So I'm going to remove this file. This file is not necessary. So I'll remove that from my repository as well because it will confuse my good students. So correlation analysis, yeah. So this is the file that would confuse you. I'm going to remove that. Not necessary, right? So what you need to do is please make sure that you download this file, status session 3, salary set is height, right? You can refresh the screen and you can download that. So click at that and you can download that and make sure that it has the extension of what? DTA. It has the extension of DTA. Status session 3, salary, DTA. Not SAV. SAV is the, so even that if you download, you can import the content to Stata. But here it's DTA, data file, Stata data file. Right now, let's open that file. So how can you open that? You can first open Stata. If you have installed Stata in your system, it will automatically open. But since sometimes you might be running Stata from your pen drive, so what you can do is you can go to Windows Search and say Stata. You can see Stata is there. Go to Stata 19BE. That's the most latest version that I have given you. Yes, it's 19.5 Stata BE. It's up and running very well. Now what we shall do is we shall go and open that downloaded file. We can go to file, we can go to open, and we'll go to downloads, and then we will open today status session 2, infrastructure session 3, salary, status and height, DTA. Right? What you downloaded. Now it's a DTA file, not the SAV file. So if you are not downloaded SAV, so please download the DTA file and press open. So you can then see the variables are there. Isn't it? Now how to open this variable? How to open this, how to view the data? Now you can see the variables have come here. If the variables have come here, that means the variable, the data set is open. But if you want to look at this data, how can you see that? You have to pass what? You go here and you type browse, BROWSE, browse. Maybe hit enter. Then you can see, yes, the employee ID is there, salary is there, right? And you have satisfaction. Then you have what? Absence, and even their height in centimeters. So those are them. Right. First of all, let's draw a diagram. So please write down drawing a scatter diagram between salary and satisfaction. Drawing a scatter diagram using salary and satisfaction. So you can visually see the relationship, right? If there is one, right? Now check and see how to do a scatter diagram. You go to now graphics. Isn't it? You go to graphics. You are going to do a diagram. Why not you take down drawing a scatter diagram? So here you can say two-way graph. Scatter diagrams are two-way graphs because we have two variables. You have multi-scatter plots, you can do that as well, but we are now trying to do that. Two-way graphs, and you can see scatter is there. Now you take it down there. Graphs, two-way graphs, graphics, two-way graphs, and go there. Then now it says, okay, what are the plots? What are the plots? I need to ask you. So you can go to create. You can go to create and it's scatter. Scatter is what we want. A basic plot. Scatter is okay. That's what we need. Right? You can see here, right? Scatter is there. Line and other things are there. We are not interested. Then it says X variable and the Y variable. X variable and the Y variable. Now here X always, right? If you draw a diagram, right? X is the horizontal axis, isn't it? And if I go over here, so again go to this PowerPoint file, correlation analysis. Right, in the correlation analysis, now we are trying to draw a scatter diagram. Right? In the scatter diagram, what you have to understand is, let me put another slide or next slide. Right. Let me change it to a blank slide, right? And let me put it like this. Now in a scatter plot diagram, right? In a dot diagram or scatter plot diagram, whatever we call that, you will have two axes. Right. What's this axis? Horizontal axis. What's this axis, Putta, known as? X or Y? It's X or Y? It's X. It's X. And this is Y. This is Y. Right. So let me delete the unnecessary ones. But though if I can, sometimes. Right. So X is always, Putta, remember, the independent variable. This is the independent variable. Y is the dependent variable. I will call it IV. Independent variable. And this is the dV. For y-axis, you put the dV. dV is the dependent variable. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Right? I'm going to ask you a question. In this example, when you take salary and satisfaction, salary and employee satisfaction measured in a Likert scale, satisfaction is measured in a Likert scale. What is IV? The independent variable. What is IV? What is IV?
Salary.
Salary. Indeed, very good. Salary. Y, so X is salary, the independent variable. Y is the dependent variable. That's the salary. Very good. So, I'm going to quit from here. This. Right. Now what we should go do is we shall again go to this data. And now you know what's X and Y. Right? X is the salary. You can select salary. And Y is satisfaction. Right? So this is the convention. Always put salary as the X variable, X axis. The horizontal axis. The vertical axis, always put satisfaction, right, as the vertical axis or the Y variable. And then you say accept. So you can see now plot 1 has come, plot 1 is there. And you can press OK. Now in Stata, it will create a diagram. Here, a nice diagram came where in the X axis you can say salary, and in the Y axis you can see satisfaction. Now if you look closely this diagram, you can see what kind of relationship is there. It's a straight line, isn't it? All the dots have fall in a straight line. That means what? When salary goes up, satisfaction also goes up. Because it's, right, it's having this kind of a relationship. And I can draw a straight line. Here, so it has been aligned very nicely, but sometimes it might be not. But again, you can see there's a positive relationship. So by using a scatter diagram, you can look at whether there's a positive relationship or a negative relationship. Right? Is that clear? Now I'm going to give you a small task. Right? Now look at the relationship between salary and absenteeism. What kind of relationship you expect? You expect a negative relationship. Shall I do that? So I'm going to minimize that and I'm going to go again to Stata. And I'm going to go to again graphs, two-way graph. And you can edit this or you can create a new one. So we shall create maybe a new one, again a scatter one. Right. Or you can even edit that. If you want, you can edit this. And you can edit this, let's say edit. And now we require not satisfaction, salary, we require absenteeism. So why not to choose absenteeism? Now it's salary and absenteeism. And you can press accept. So now you edited plot 1 and you can press OK. Here what kind of relationship you can see? When salary goes up, right? When salary goes up, what has happened to the absenteeism? It has gone down. So when this goes up, so that's why you can see it's and you can also draw a straight line almost, and there is a kind of a negative relationship. In fact, a very strong negative relationship is observed. Right? Is that clear? Then also, we'll see the third one. Right? Again, you can now, you can see here easily, you can run this commands by using that. You don't need this, graphs and go here and there and do the editing and other thing. You can just, you can run it in this manner. You can just type two-way, two-way, right? Two-way. And you can say, you can take within, you can say scatter. I'll just copy this. So I'll copy the entire thing. Then it's easy. I'll copy the entire thing. And you put it here. Two-way scatter. Now, I'll now take height and salary. Here, remember, height is the independent variable. We are saying height causes that one. And therefore, you can say salary as the dependent variable and height as the independent variable. And you can run that. Right, so I'll say not absenteeism, I'll say salary now here. And then I'll say height. Here and I'll just do height. So that you can directly give without going and clicking here and there. And then you can hit enter. So it will draw the diagram like this. Height and salary. We say height and salary. Is there a relationship? I don't think so. The dots have gone everywhere. Right? If you did not like that command line thing, then again, let me show you. Go to graphs, two-way graph, and go to edit. And now X variable should be what? Height, because we are saying height is impacting salary. Right? I think you can remember there was one politician who was telling what? Usanan security, mitinam kamkar. Can you remember? If you are taller, you should go for a security job. If you are shorter, then you have to go for a laborer job. So that's based on height. He was segregating people, isn't it? So we'll see that today because usually security guards get more salary than laborers. So we can see whether height has something to do with salary. I don't know. So height and salary. Right. So we can just say accept and you can press OK. Again, you'll get the same one. Right. You'll get to see the same one. And you can see there's, it seems, no relationship, but it's scattered. I think one student's mic has got inadvertently unmuted. Please check that. Huh? Right. Okay. Okay. So that's how you would run a scatter plot diagram and visually see what kind of relationship between two variables. Right? Is that clear? Clear how to draw a scatter plot diagram instead. And this basically the way that you do that. You say two-way and within brackets you say scatter and you say the dependent variable and finally the independent variable. Right. You don't need to remember that at all, right? I will never ask at the exams, write the command for scatter plot diagram. Right? I will never ask any command at the exam. I don't do that. I don't want you to remember anything, right? Because this is where you apply your knowledge, not to remember commands. Why should we remember commands? Okay. Right? Is that clear? So this is how you would perform, right? And you draw a scatter plot diagram. Okay, let's go back to the slideshow. Right, then draw scatter plot diagrams, separate scatter plot diagrams for the all three data we drew. And what can you tell about the relationships? So when you looked at the first diagram, we saw that there's a positive relationship. And in the second diagram, we saw that there's a negative relationship. Then in the third diagram, we saw no relationships, right? Okay. Now let's see how to compute the correlation coefficient. right? Now let's see how to compute the correlation coefficient. Okay. So we'll try to compute the correlation coefficient, and I'm going to now show you how to do that properly, right? So please take down calculating, please take down calculating Pearson's correlation coefficient. But there's two kinds of correlations, Pearson and Spearman. For these kind of Likert data as well as continuous data, we usually use Pearson's correlation coefficient. So you can take down calculating Pearson's correlation coefficient using stata. Calculating Pearson's correlation coefficient using stata. So please take down. And now let's see how to compute the Pearson's correlation coefficient. To do that, what you'll do is simply, right, you are going to go to stata. Right? Then go where? Statistics. Right? Then what? Now you also should tell me, search it and you can tell me how to perform correlation. How to perform correlations. So I'll show you, but again, right. Right. Now take down statistics, summary tables and tests, summary and descriptive statistics. It's a long way, isn't it? Then you have here what? You have what? Pairwise correlation. Pairwise correlation. There are different correlations. Here we are looking at pairwise correlation. Because we are looking at pairs. Right? So please take down this path. Statistics, summaries, tests and tables and tests. Then go to summaries and descriptive statistics. And then go to pairwise correlations. Did you take it down? Are you okay? Then go and click on pairwise correlation. Then it says what are the variables that you would like to see. So we'll take, first we shall take for the explanatory purposes, then we can take all, right? What we'll do is we'll take one pair, but you can take all pairs, right? First, let's for the explanatory purpose, let's take salary and satisfaction. And then we take the other pairs later. Right? You see, it can be put in all in one place. And also we can say print the number of observations. There are 370. No, there are, I think in this data set, there was about 8 observations. So we can say print number of observations. Then very necessarily, please tick this one, print significance level for each entry. We need the significance level. You'll understand what's the significant level. I'll explain that to you right after this. So you say print significant levels for each entry and you press OK. So you just select salary and satisfaction. You can even type them and then print number, then print significant levels and press OK. Right? Now look at this very carefully. Right? You can see that these are metrics. Isn't it? You can see salary is there, salary is there. So the same variable is here. Salary, salary, the same variable. Right? Then satisfaction, satisfaction, the same variable. So these are the diagonal, right? The diagonal we ignore because it's the same variable. We are not interested in that. We are interested in salary and satisfaction. Salary and satisfaction. So you can see The correlation coefficient is given here as 1, plus 1. And also you can see there's a significance level just below that. This is called a significance level. I'll now tell you what's that. That's the most important part you have to understand. Below this, the significant level is given. Then 8 is the number of observations. We have 8 pairs, right? Number of observations is 8, right? Now, let me teach you very carefully. Now, please stop everything and pay your maximum attention to this, right? What's this significance level? The second row indicates the significance level. What's this significance level? You have to understand that very, very carefully, right? If not, you are done, right? What's this significance level? So that's what I am going to go to this slideshow and I'm going to explain to you, right? Now, look at this particular illustration. Here you can see I have given the confidence level as well as significance level. Here, what do you mean by confidence level? Confidence level means how confident are you that there is a real systematic relationship. Even in our day-to-day language, we call the same thing, same confidence level. How confident are you? Now, when the exam, right, at the exam day, right? If I ask a student how confident are you that we will pass this exam, a student who had attended lectures would say, I'm very confident, sir. I'm very confident. Likewise, the same thing here, confidence level. How much confident are you that there is a real systematic relationship? How much confident are you that there is a real systematic relationship? Here you can see there are 3 confidence levels that we usually consider in statistics. 90%, which is also denoted as 0.9, you can give as a percentage or as a number, a fraction. 95%, then 0.95, then 99%, 0.99. Right? Usually you expect at least a 95% confidence, right? So that's the statistical threshold the statisticians have established. Now my question to you is, would you like higher confidence or a lower confidence? Would you like to have a higher confidence or a lower confidence? What do you think? Would you like a higher confidence or lower confidence? Okay, so would you like a higher confidence or a lower confidence?
Higher confidence.
Higher confidence, indeed. Higher the better, isn't it? So if you have 95, rather than 90, if you have 95% confidence, it's good. Like that student. The student told, when I asked whether you would pass the exam, the student told, yes, sir, I am very confident that I will pass the exam. 99% confidence I'll pass it. Not only sir, I'll pass it, I'll get an A+. That's the confidence level that we expect from you. Then what do we have significance level? Significant level is the opposite of that. So if it says 90% confidence, there's 10% significance, or 0.10. If there's confidence 95%, we'll say significant level is 5%, 0.05. If we say confidence level is 99%, we say the significant level is 5%. The same thing, right? It's like the 2 sides of the same coin, the other side of the same coin. Either you can express the things in the confidence level or the significance level. Now my question to you is, would you like a higher significance level or a lower significance level? Would you like a higher significance level or lower significance level? Would you prefer 5% or 1%? Or 10%? You prefer a low one, isn't it? Why? You prefer a low one, 5% or 1%, so you have a higher confidence level. So keep this in mind. Remember this. Lower the significance level, better. So we usually expect less than 5%, 0.05, less than 5% significance level. Then only we could claim that there's a real systematic relationship between two variables. A real systematic relationship. If the significance level is above 5%, then we would say there's no systematic relationship between the two variables because we don't have confidence to tell that. We don't have statistical confidence to say that there's a real systematic relationship, right? So keep this in mind. This is extremely important, right? This is extremely important. Keep this in mind, right? Now we shall go back to our slideshow, the output. And now here you can see the confidence level. Actually, here it shows the significance level, right? Here it shows the significance level. Now my question to you is this significance level indicated here is less than 0.05, right? Or above 0.05? Is this above or below? Here you can see the significance level is below 0.05. Is that good? Extremely good, right? You were expecting less than 0.05. Here you can see even it's almost zero. There's a value for that. It's 0.000000, so a small value. So you'll be extremely happy to see this, right? You'll be extremely happy to see this. And you can see, right, here the significance level is less than 0.05. That means you have more than 95%, even more than 99% confidence that there's a real systematic relationship between salary and satisfaction, right? So that's how you would conclude. So there's a very strong positive relationship between salary and satisfaction, right? Is that clear? So when you interpret the correlation coefficient, always keep this in mind. Always keep this in mind. Look at the significance level. Make sure it's less than 0.05. If it is above 0.05, you would conclude that there's no, right, if it's above, there's no systematic relationship between the two variables that you are considering. Now, shall we see the correlation coefficient between salary and absenteeism? How to calculate it? You go to statistics, summaries, tables, and test, summaries and descriptive statistics, and go where? Pairwise correlation. And now there is this salary and satisfaction. Now I will just select this and delete satisfaction. And I will now put absence, salary and absence. I'll leave these two ticks as it is, and I'm going to press OK. Now what can you say? Between salary and absenteeism, because you ignore the diagonal, right? You ignore salary, salary, absenteeism, absenteeism, because it's the same thing. Here you are looking at salary and absenteeism, right? What kind of relationship is there? What kind of relationship is there? So here it says what? That's above 1. That's very clear. Salary and absenteeism. It's in fact 1. Right. In that case, right, although right, we get that the perfectly negative relationship seems there, but here curiously, here it has become right above It's in fact 1. This is very unnatural, right? So this should have been, I don't know why Stata is giving this. This should have been 0.000. Right? So you can take it as 0.00. I don't know why this calculation is giving that. Still it's giving the same thing, but in fact, this should have been 0.0000 something, like we got for here. So for some reason, I don't know, Stata is giving that. So maybe some error. But again, here also, just assume that this is 0, right? 0.0000. So here also what you can conclude is there's a very strong negative relationship. There's a real systematic relationship between salary and absenteeism. So for some reason, this should be 0, but it shows 1, right? Then let's take the last pair. What's that? Height and salary. Let's see whether that politician got it correct. The politician was saying that, right? The taller you should get better salary, shorter you should get a lower salary being a labor, right? Okay, let's see whether statistics, summaries, tables, and then we shall go to pairwise correlation. And now let's select, let's complete delete all, and we can put what? We can put first height, and we can say cell, height and cell, and you can press OK. Now tell me what kind of relationship is there? Can you tell that there's a negative weak correlation? Negative weak correlation between height and salary. Please never tell that, because you can see here the significance level is well above 0.05. Can you see here? The significance level is well above 0.05. In that case, you will conclude there's no systematic relationship between height and salary. Please make a special note out of that, right? Since the sig value over here is 0.56, which is well above 0.05, your maximum tolerable limit is 0.05, you will conclude that there's no significant relationship between height and salary of the employees. Make a special note out of that, right? Note down that. Since the sig value, the significance value, 0.56 is above 0.05, there is no significant relationship between height and salary. Okay? So that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so I will then, after the break, I will put all together and we'll run the correlation analysis. I'll show you how to put all together and run the correlation analysis. So it will show in one diagram also. You can take it as one diagram, or you can calculate the correlation coefficients one by one like this. But always look at the significance level. Okay. So shall we take a small break now? A 20-minute break? Have your breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. And we shall meet at 9:25. Okay. We shall meet at 9:25 and we shall continue, and I'll show you how to put all these variables together and run the correlation analysis. And then we shall do some exercises using some other data set. Right. I'll give you another data set so we can perform correlation analysis accordingly. Okay. Right. And we can interpret the results. I'll give you more chances, more exercises, so you'll be able to interpret the results of a correlation analysis. So shall we take a small break then? So we shall meet at 9:25, 20 minutes from now. Okay, students, please, we shall meet at that time. Students, welcome back. Can you hear me? Students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Buddha. Thank you. Thank you very much for the confirmation. So now let's continue our discussion. So let's see now how to put all these variables and run the correlation analysis. So it will be one matrix, and we'll see how to do that. So if you want to put all these variables together and run the analysis, it's very simple. So what you do is you put summaries tables, tests, summaries tables and tests, descriptive statistics, and then you go to pairwise correlations. And now you can say you can put all the things together. Let's say, let's take one by one. I'll put first satisfaction, then absenteeism, and height, and then salary. There's no order, you can put it in any order, right? So I just selected all, and I made sure that these are selected print number of observations for each category and print significant levels. I put them both as well, and I press now. Okay. Now a nice table comes the same thing, right? Here you can see the salary and satisfaction. It's over here. Salary and satisfaction. If you look at the last row, you can get a lot of information. So it's repeated, isn't it? Here it's repeated. And you can see this the diagonal. You can safely ignore the diagonal because it's the same variable, satisfaction, then absenteeism, height. So just ignore the what you call the diagonal, right? And then you can see salary and satisfaction. It's having a significant, because here you can see the significance value is less than 0.05. So it's even less than 0.01. So there's significant positive, a very strong positive correlation. Here, I don't know, for some reason, this should have been 0 again. And you can say again, there's a significant negative, a very highly strong, very strong negative relationship between salary and absenteeism. And then if you take height and salary, you can see there's no systematic relationship. We would call it there's no systematic relationship between height and salary, right? So that's the conclusion we have to make related to height and salary. Because why? There's no systematic relationship. You don't interpret this as a weak negative relationship because you cannot tell that because the significant level is above 0.05. In that case, you will conclude like what? There's no systematic relationship between height and salary of the employees. Yes, Buddha. I think there is.
Excuse me, sir. එතකොට මේ
Oh, Buddha.
height එක එතන conclusion එක 156 කියලාද meaning එක වෙන්නේ?
නෑ පුතා. conclusion එක තමයි පුතා height එකයි salary එක අතර systematic relationship එකක් නෑ කියන එක. මොකද මේ sig value එක පුතා 0.05 වලට වඩා වැඩි නිසා. අපි
100% වැඩි කියන්නේ.
100% වඩා වැඩි නිසා. 100% වඩා වැඩි නම් අපි කියන්නේ there is no real systematic relationship කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඇත්තට
මෙතන percentage එක විතර ගද්දී 156.69
අන්න හරි 156. ඒක 100% වඩා බෙහෙම වැඩි.
හරි
100% වඩා අපිට 100. එතකොට ඒක නිසා අපි කියන්නේ එතකොට අපි ඔය කියන්නේ මොකක්ද දන්නවද? ඒ relationship එක due to random. That's a random relationship. Like a real system that what we tell is there is no real systematic relationship. The relationship is due to some randomness. Very good. Very good question you asked. So what he asked was to all the students because he asked it in you use it any language, and what matters is the knowledge. So let me tell that what he asked. He was asking Is it 56.6? Yes, it's 56.6. ඒ පුතා හුවේ ඒක 156ද කියලා. ඔව් 156. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක 105ට වඩා වැඩි. It's above 0.05. That means it's above 5%. Very good, and thank you very much for asking and clarifying that. Because in correlation analysis, this is the point that you have to remember. Because I don't think this point was explained to you in your earlier studies. කලින් මේක explain කරද්දී පන්තිවල මම හිතන්නේ මේක discuss කරලා තිබුණේ නැහැ ওই significance level එක. I don't think the significance level had been discussed in the earlier classes. Okay, so that's why you have to understand this very carefully. He very nicely asked that. Thank you, Buddha, for that question. Other students also asked. So this is 56.6%. The significance level. In the second row is there. This is the correlation coefficient. We won't interpret that there's a negative or whatever positive or thing if the significance level is above 0.05. Because we don't have evidence in that case. We call it, it's just due to randomness. What we claim is there's no real systematic relationship between height and salary. So what can we tell about that politician who was claiming at Usanan security, Mitinam Kankaru, meaning if you are taller, you have to go for a security job. And if you are shorter, you have to go for a labor job. Right? So it's a very foolish claim to make, isn't it? So you can see there's nothing to do with the height and salary. Right? Okay, good. Now let's do some exercises. Right? Now take your gym wear and let's try to run. No, not that kind of exercises. let's do some exercises using another data set which we'll use. Right? Okay. Okay. Any questions? I got very nice question, a clarification. How about others? Is it clear? So that's why I have given here that now when it comes to salary and height, there's no systematic relationship. Right? Okay. So now let's use this session to survey for ED file. What I'll do is I'll first check. Let me put that to make your lives easy. You can import the contents, but without importing, what I'll do is let me first check whether the file I have uploaded is a data file or yeah. Now we'll use this one. So let me check it's a data or species file, and I'll give this data file. You can see here. Yeah, it's data. Okay, that's fine. So what you need to do is now it's DTA. Okay. So this is the file exercise 4. You can just change the extension because now this data file is there. So please download Putta. You go to the LMS, and now I'm going to give you some exercises so we can work it together, right? So you go to this particular file, right? Status session 3, status session 3 survey for ED. Right, please, these are data file that we'll be using as an extra exercise file. So Putta, please download this file. It's indeed in data format, so there's no problem. So this in data format, please download it and open it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my data file that's already opened. Right, and I'm going to open a fresh data session. Right, okay. I'm going to open a fresh data session and I'm going to import that file. Right, so I'll go to File, Open, and then open that file. That's status session 3, survey for EDDT. Open that file. Right, good. Now let's see what the task is. Right. We need to see first, let's use the pair. age and total life satisfaction. So please see the relationship between age and total life satisfaction. Can you do that? So you can see age variable is here. Age is this. Then what's total life satisfaction? You go down, 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 down. Here. There is here. Almost go to the bottom and then you go up. Then you can see there is a variable called T life sat. Isn't it? Total life satisfaction. Yeah. T life sat. This total life satisfaction. So here it's you go to the bottom and go a little bit up, then you have T life set. So the variable is named as T life set, total life satisfaction. And the earlier variable was what? Age. Can you check age and total life satisfaction, the correlation? So what's the independent and what's the dependent variable? If you take age and total life satisfaction, what's the independent and what's the dependent variable? The independent variable is what? Age. Total life satisfaction is what? That's a dependent variable, right? So please check what kind of correlation is there. So I suggest you first draw a scatter plot diagram, a dot diagram to see visually the relationship between these two variables, right? So do that and then perform correlation analysis and tell me what kind of correlation is there. Age and life satisfaction. Don't be lazy and do it. And you have no reason not to do that because you can run Stata from anywhere. Isn't it? So you can run Stata from anywhere. And also I created a kind of, zip file. For my good students, I created a zip file. So you can directly download the installed files, not the installation. So you can directly download the installed files. So let me give that to you in case if you are facing difficulty to install that or even use a pen drive in your computer. So I'll give you the installed files. So you can just unzip that and run it. That's all. So let me give that to you to make your lives easy. So here is the particular. So I will put that also to the LMS. So here you don't need to install, just download it, unzip the contents to anywhere that you want. And you can run Stata 64BE. So let me go to your LMS and put this. So now I cannot find, I think I closed it. So let me go back. So this is your LMS, no? www.17B EXP. So I'll put that file also under the Stata folder. So you can, so under this, I will put another small link. I created that also for my good students. That.
පන්තියක් තියෙනවා.
පුතා something got some පුතෙක්ගේ පුතා මේ unmute වෙලා පුතාගේ පෞද්ගලික දෙයක් ඇහෙනවා බලාගෙන.
නෑ online.
පුතා I think one students මොනවා කියවිද දන්නේ ඒක නිසා තමයි මම කියන්නේ. Sometimes you might. But that student is a very good student. He is saying that I have a class, so don't disturb. Good. Thank you. Okay. ඒ පුතා කියනවා අනිත් පාර්ශවයට online class එකක් තියෙනවා disturb කරන්න එපා කියලා. අන්න එහෙම තමයි ඉන්නවා. So I call it stata fully installation. You can just download this and you can run it. That's all. Run the stata B. So I put that as well in case if you don't have that, it's also there. Here, stata 19.5 zip file with fully installation. Just download this, unzip the content to any folder, and you run stata BE 64 EXE. Then it will run the entire thing. Okay. Okay, how many of you computed the correlation between age and life satisfaction of employees? How many? What's the correlation? Anyone who did it? Key life stat, total life satisfaction, and age. No one? My God. Why is that? Only the life satisfaction. So we are not that much of satisfied, say, in life. We are here, no one is satisfied. What we are trying to do is we are trying to be less dissatisfied. Becoming satisfied might not be easy. So what we need to thrive for is to become less dissatisfied. For that, studies, learning, getting this degree, and getting a professional qualification, chartered qualification, right, is the way out. So you can be less dissatisfied, and of course, you will be satisfied as well. Get a good training from a good training organization. So I was telling you the 4 weapons that you can use in your life to get a good life. What's that? Knowledge, skills, mindset, and what? Knowledge, skills, mindset, and what? Attitude. Right? And by the way, you can ask GPT to tell how you can use these tactics. Right? You can train ChatGPT to give you excellent life advice, career advice. But you have to be very careful. It might give sometimes very biased ones. But again, right, what you could do is you can do a small experiment if you like to do. You can upload your CV and little bit tell about you to ChatGPT, and then tell, okay, give some career advice, give some personal development advice. It will give excellent advice indeed. Right. However, now, my good students, tell me what kind of correlation exists between age and total life satisfaction. Anyone who got it? How to do that? You will go to, statistics. And first of all, let's draw that scatter plot. Huh? So you'll go to graphics, two-way graphics, then you create, and yes, scatter plot. So here age is the independent variable. This age could cause life satisfaction. Then go here, down, 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 and let it go up, 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 up. Then you can see here there is the life set, total life satisfaction. The life set, that's there. Great. And you can press accept, and you can press OK. You get indeed a scatter plot diagram. I don't see that kind of a relationship, right? Kind of a it's scattered everywhere, isn't it? Not much meaningful relationship. That's what I could see, but let's see. So I'm going to, so if you want, you can copy this, right? You can go to edit, copy, and put that anywhere that you want. Then, so then let's do the correlation analysis. How to do correlation analysis? You go to statistics, summaries, tables, and tests, summaries, tables, and descriptive summary and descriptive statistics, and you go to a pairwise correlation, right? And a pairwise correlation. Then what you do is you will take the age, and then you go to the bottom, down, it got up, and you can see here above TP stress, that's stress. Above you have T life satisfaction, age and life satisfaction, and don't forget to print the number of observations as well as print the significant levels. And you will press OK. Okay, so you can see there are 436 observations in this case. You ignore the diagonal because it's the same thing, age, life satisfaction. You can see here, the sig level is 0.22. And you can see the correlation is what, 0.0586, the correlation coefficient. So can you say that there's a very weak positive correlation between age and life satisfaction? Can you say that? By looking at the correlation coefficient itself, can you conclude that there's a very weak, because again, it's 0.05. Can you tell that? Can or can't? You can't. Why? Because look at the sig level. The significance level is again above 0.05. So that means the significance level is 0.05, more than 0.05, it's 0.22, which is above 0.05. Above, so it's 22.2%. So our tolerable limit is 5%. So therefore, we don't have, that means it's 22%. That means we have only confidence 88%, almost 88%. That's not enough. We need at least 95% confidence. That means below 0.05, right? Confidence, right? So the significance level should be less than 0.05. It's above 0.05. So how we would conclude? The conclusion would be there is no real systematic relationship between age and life satisfaction, total life satisfaction of employees. There is no real systematic relationship between age and total life satisfaction, right, of employees. That's how you would conclude, right? Is that clear? Did our good students get this result?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. I'm very happy. Right? Very good. So yes, I could see the students are raising their hands. So I could see 2 students who had done 3. Very nice. That's very good. 3 students. Only 3 out of 50. We have about 50. There are 4 students. 5. Okay. So there's no reason why shouldn't be you able to do it. Why? Because so I'm very happy. There are about 11 now. 12, 13. That's really nice. Okay, Buddha. So there are about 13, 15 students out of 50, but my kind of expectation is that almost all students should be able to do that, because why? Data needs not be installed. You can use even the office laptop and you can do this. Even if you want, you can use the office laptop and you can do this. Now I have given you the installed files also. You can just download it and run it. Unzip the container and run it. That's all. So therefore, students do it, because that's only then you will be able to do it. Because now when we are going to in a class environment, I'll give you, an exercise where it will be, I'll be asking you to do this and to compute these things. So if you are unable to do that, you are not going to get any marks. Therefore, practice this. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. And it's not difficult. You can see, it's just Stata will do the computation, and what you need to do is just practice them. So invest in yourself. The best investment you can do ever is investing in yourself. ජීවිතයේ හොඳම ආයෝජනය තමයි තමුන්ගේම ආයෝජනය, තමුන් කෙරෙහි ආයෝජනය කරගන්න. Right? The best investment that you can do is investing in yourself. In fact, that's what you are doing. Right? You are investing now. Studies, right? It's an investment. Right? You know, it's a very expensive, it's a costly degree program here. Not comparatively, it's a very reasonably priced, right? At SEB, of course, a comparative degree would cost very high in certain other places, but here, right, comparatively, if you look at, it's given at a reasonable price, indeed. So, but it's an investment you have to spend. So that's the best investment you could do because it will improve your skills, career prospects, and it will set a good basis for your future. So therefore, Buddha, invest in yourself. How can we invest? Enhance your knowledge, skills, knowledge, the mindset as well as the attitude. That's the only way out. There is no shortcuts in this life. There's no shortcuts in your life. Here you might say, sir, we can do different kind of things. We can engage in different kind of trades, but again, short-lived. See what happened to certain figures like some drug dealers. They earn millions or billions, but what happened to them? Remand custody, some people died. So those are short-lived. The only sustainable way is Buddha to get good education, which you are getting, a degree, and also then get exemptions and complete the chartered qualification and be a sound, excellent professional, a well sorted out, right? Profession. That's the only way out. For that, you need to invest. You cannot just get anything. Just investing money wouldn't get you a degree, of course. You have to work hard. You have to work hard. You have to do these exercises, and then you will get confidence. Your confidence levels will be high. You'll get in the necessary skills, knowledge, everything. And as lecturers, that's our intention as well. Not just to come do some lectures and go home. Our intention is to see you progress and climb the best, topmost positions and contribute to this world to the maximum possible. You can remember, Buddha, you will be paid value if you provide value. That's a simple equation that works in the industry, in this world. You will be given value only if you could give value. Simply that's it. To get a higher salary, you have to give better work. If not, you wouldn't be able to survive. Right. Okay. Right. Then next what we shall see is, I'll give again you a chance. So let's go to slideshow. Right. Now look at stress and total life satisfaction. Now yes, stress is the independent variable and total life satisfaction is the dependent variable. Look at that. Now earlier we looked at age and total life satisfaction. Now please see stress, total perceived stress, that which is called as PP stress. That variable was just below total life satisfaction and total life satisfaction. What kind of relationship is there? Can you tell me? What kind of relationship is there? Yeah, I'll give about 2-3 minutes. Excellent. I'm getting again answers. Yeah, you might be correct or wrong. That's fine. But again, First, visually see the relationship, right? Stress and life satisfaction. Visually see the relationship, then it will give you an idea, and then you can go and perform the correlation, right? Analysis using data. Don't be lazy, do it, right? And there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that, because the package is there. The package is, isn't it? That's the very reason we have chosen Stata, because it's a very versatile package. And of course, now, while you are doing that, what we can do is we can copy this. Right now, to copy this, the best way is to copy like this. You start from down. Yatim patangana. Start from down and go to the top. I start from the down, right? From here, go to the top, and you can copy. You can say copy table. And you can paste it, but now it's a little bit an ugly table. So what I do is I usually go to ChatGPT. Yes. I'm an ardent user of ChatGPT. A lot of things I get it done from ChatGPT. So let me go to a new prompt. And then I will give the prompt like this. I say I'll paste it. So it got pasted. And on the top, I'll say what? I'll say prepare. Prepare a correlation table of my research article. I just the colon and I just paste it. The thing is pasted. So I'm going to hit enter. So a nice correlation table is prepared. Yeah. P is the sig value. Sig value is that, and N is the number of observations. And here it says number 1 is the first variable here, age. Number 2 is the life satisfaction, so 1 and 2. So it gives this one, Pearson's correlation. So here it's 0.059, but since the p value or the sig value is above 0.05, you would say that there's no systematic relationship between these two variables. So table X, so you can copy this and paste it in word 5, right? Free of charge, indeed. Right. So that's a side tip that in fact you can put any table and you can, you can ask it to create that table in a beautiful way. Right. And even I can ask to prepare a visual diagram on this. Likewise, I can ask different things. Now, some students would say, sir, we can also ask it to interpret the results. Okay, interpret. But see how it interprets, huh? See what kind of errors it could do. Therefore, see, interpret the result. Now, see, some students, what they do is they try to use that the interpretation. Now, see, ChatGPT is saying there is a very weak positive correlation. Do you agree? Do you agree? Then it says finally it's negligible. What nonsense is that? right? And then finally it says, not statistically significant, we cannot conclude that there is a meaningful linear relationship. You don't need this amount of nonsense. What you have to tell is, you never should say that there's a very weak positive correlation on the first place. What you should say is, there is no systematic relationship between, right, age and life satisfaction. That's it. So this one is the real interpretation. So that's why I'm saying, students, you can use ChatGPT or any GPT as only an assistant. You have to be very careful. You have to have the knowledge. It will do the writing. Indeed, it's a good writing assistant, but you should know what it does. Right? So you cannot say very weak. There's, right, it says summary strength. No, you should not tell that. You should say, this is the right conclusion. No evidence of a significant relationship. There's no significant relationship. There's no evidence for significant relationship. No evidence for meaningful, real, systematic relationship. Don't say that there is a positive, very weak relationship. Got the point? So therefore, you could use ChatGPT or whatever as an assistive tool, right? So be extremely careful of that as well. Right. Okay. Then now let's see the next pair, which was what? Stress, TP stress and life satisfaction. So what's the correlation? Shall we do it? Okay, let's do it. So let's go to, first of all, let's draw the scatter plot, right? You can go to graphs, two-way diagram. Then let's edit this. And now let's use first stress. So X variable is stress, that's the independent variable, TP stress. Go to the bottom and then you can see here, TP stress is the total perceived stress. Then T life set is the dependent variable. T life set. Now TP stress. And you can say accept and you can press OK. Here comparatively, you can see a negative relationship, isn't it? When total perceived stress goes up, the life satisfaction goes down. It's better than the earlier one, age and total life satisfaction. Right? So visually you can see that. Now let's see whether there's a meaningful relationship. So how to do the correlation? You will go to statistics, summaries, tables and tests, summaries and descriptive statistics, and you'll go to pairwise correlation. And now you will remove age and you will have total life satisfaction. And let's also put in what? Total perceived stress. TP stress is here, right? TP stress is there, and you can press OK. Is there a relationship? How can you interpret this? How can you interpret this? How can you interpret that? Students, how can you interpret that? There's a, because significance level is there. You can see significance level is there. So in that case, there's no problem. Significance level is there. So it's less than 0.05. Then you can interpret the correlation coefficient. The correlation coefficient is 0.49, isn't it? So there is what? A moderate negative relationship. There's a moderate negative relationship between what? Total perceived stress and total life satisfaction of employees. Okay. So you can put this also to ChatGPT and ask it to draw nice tables. It will do within seconds. Right. There is another way to do that. You can ask even ChatGPT to write this data code to directly write this table to a nice correlation table. And that's some advanced one, which you don't need to worry. You can just use ask ChatGPT to run it. That's fine to draw the table. So here, what's the way to do that? How to interpret this? You say what? The p-value or the sig value is less than 0.05. So therefore, you will interpret the result. You will say that there is a moderate negative relationship between total perceived stress and total life satisfaction. There was no systematic relationship because here the sig value was above 0.05. Right? Now, what I'll do is I will put this into the same correlation matrix. That's what usually you do. So you again go to, now let's put both age, stress, and life satisfaction all together. So here I'm going to put over here. So sorry, over here there is correlation, and I'm going to put life satisfaction, stress, as well as I'll take age. I'm going to now run all three together, and I'm going to press OK. So you get a nice large table. Again, the same thing. Huh? So you will see life satisfaction, stress. There's a significant moderate negative relationship, and age and life satisfaction, there's no systematic relationship. And now you can put all this, right? You can copy from the bottom. That's a best practice. Start from copying from here and take it up here and then right click and say copy table. Right click and copy table, right? Then you can put that to a Word file or an Excel file. But again, what I do is I put to ChatGPT because it will make my life easy. Okay, so I'm going to go to ChatGPT and ask it to prepare my table. Prepare the table. Right to remember. Now it's again the same thing. If you are doing, you can shorten the prompt, but if not, you have to give the prompt properly. So I just copied and pasted, and I'm going to ask it to prepare the table. So now APA style, that's American Psychology Association style. Nicely prepared. Any table you can do that. Huh? So see here, life satisfaction, perceived stress, and age. So P is the sig value that I was telling, which was less than. So here you can see perceived stress and number one variable. Number one is life satisfaction. Number two is here perceived stress. Number three is age. So you can see the p-values are given within brackets. You can see the diagonal is the same variable, life satisfaction, stress, that you can ignore. Then you can see perceived stress, and number one is that's life satisfaction. Here the sig level is less than 0.05. But in fact it's less than even 0.001. So very significant relationship. So you can interpret the result that there is a moderately negative relationship between perceived stress, and total life satisfaction. But on the other hand, age, you can see the sig value is above 0.05. It's given in a nice font table. So it says like how significant levels are there. And sometimes you so right. If it is less than 0.05, you put one asterisk, it's less than 0.01, you put two asterisks besides. So likewise also you put two things. So you can see this table is there. Now you can just, it's a matter of copying and pasting this table to a Word document. With this note itself. Yeah, let me know if you like this in Word. So I'll say yes. Right. Doc. So it will prepare me the Word doc to be downloaded. So I don't need to even copy and paste that. So I'm using ChatGPT paid version. I pay $20 every month because it's well worth for me. It saves me, I don't know how many hours. Right. So it's a game changer. If you know how to use it properly, emphasis added. Right. Is it clear, Pudha, how to do a correlation analysis and how to interpret the results? And even I'm showing you how to generate tables for publication purposes, to put in your thesis or put in your article that you're going to write in the future. But be careful if you're going to use ChatGPT for interpret that, because sometimes it might not give the correct answer. You saw that by yourself. It was telling there's a positive negative relationship or whatever, but again negligible it was telling. But again, we don't interpret if the sig level is above 0.05. Okay, so it has prepared the table here, so I can just download that. That's it. Sometimes the tables won't come pretty, but let's see how it has done. So I didn't want even if I could have just copied and pasted this, but it saves a massive amount of time. See, here some stupid these things are there. You have to remove them, right? And then the others are there. APS time, bit seconds, it's there. Pollution metrics of life satisfaction, perceived stress, and age. And of course, you can even ask ChatGPT to write this data code. Right now, here, no, you don't need to know that, but again, here this code is written by, these are actually a code. So you can even ask, now these are the variables, and you can ask, okay, I can give life satisfaction, age, or whatever, and I can give these variables, and I can ask ChatGPT to write this data code. Say, I need to run correlation analysis in data, and the variables are with variables. So I'm just going to get some variables, right? I should just take that from the data set, the variables, and you give me the data command. So it would be this data command. For Python, for VBA code, it's like that. Okay. Now remember, but see, this is the correct one. Easy. Pairwise correlation. Now here, if you view that, it won't indicate the significance. That's why you can see. So they have to be careful. It says PW code. PW code is pairwise correlation. This is the correct one. It gives the explanation as well. So these only not only for starter, for Python commands, for VBA commands, anything you can ask ChatGPT to write that code, and you can. It's a matter of just running that. Right, so ChatGPT is a game changer. So anyways, you are not required to, remember any of these commands. If you can just run the command lines, that's perfectly fine. Right. Finally, we'll again go back and take the next final pair. We'll see total optimism, and we'll see the relationship with total optimism and life satisfaction. Can you check that? Total optimism and life satisfaction. So I'll add that also. Very good. Statistics. Right. Summaries, tables and tests. Summary and descriptive statistics, and I'll go to pairwise correlation. Then I'll add top team. Top team is total optimism. So if you go down, bottom, and if you go a little bit up, you can see here top team. total optimism. You can just add that variable top team. Now you have total life satisfaction, age, and everything, total top optimism. And I'm going to have that matrix. I'm going to say OK. And you can see top team is also there. Top team and life satisfaction. Where's life satisfaction? Yeah, life satisfaction is here. And top team is here. Is there a correlation between top team and total optimism and life satisfaction for that? What kind of correlation is there? Is it significant? Indeed, yes. It's less than 0.05. So you will interpret this coefficient, which is again a moderate positive relationship between total optimism and total life satisfaction. Right? So that's how you interpret. And you can just copy this. Better to start from the bottom, right? And go to the top and right click, copy table, and then put that to ChatGPT. Now you don't even need to give a command because it knows what you want. Hopefully, let's see. Here's the protein format correlation matrix table. So a nice table is produced. This is the APA style, American Psychological Association style. There's no Harvard style tables. Harvard style citations are there, but not Harvard style tables. So yes, age does not have, but total optimism, you can see it has number one is satisfaction. You can see it's having a significant positive correlation, right? Which is moderate. Likewise, we have correlation matrix in this manner. This is how you present it, not that data table that gives its data. You convert that to put that to ChatGPT, and it will create the nice table that you want, that you can copy and paste into your document, or you can ask, okay, so prepare the Excel file. I usually like to have it in Excel rather than Word. So Excel file, please. Yes, it not because I gave the prompt to prepare the Word file. So now I have to put that to the Excel file. So likewise, make ChatGPT not to just write assignments for you. Use ChatGPT as your assistant. Now, if I wanted to prepare this file, I have to copy this and paste that to Excel, and a lot of big issues, isn't it? And also, I might make mistakes. Now, what I do is I ask ChatGPT to do it. It saves a lot of time. So that file is there. Yep. Nice table comes. Right? Then I can nicely copy this and paste it to Word file or whatever. So likewise, you can use that for the formatting purposes and get it done. And also, if you want to write, I'll show that as well. So I can say I want to write the state of correlation output. Directly to a Word document. Word doc. Can you give me the state command? So you can write. Now these are some little bit advanced thing that you can do. So you can directly put any output, simpler and more formatted output by using the asdoc command. For that, you have to install that, right? And then you can run this command and it will write to a word file. So I'll show you. First of all, this is an optional command that's there in Stata. So you have to get Stata installed. So it's very easy. You have to run this command in Stata. So don't worry if you cannot understand what I'm talking now. So SSC install asdoc replace. So you just go to the command prompt and you write it over here. So what it says is you go to the Stata repository or the internet. To do this, you have to have internet connection. Then it says install the command asdoc. Asdoc is not a generic command available in Stata. It's a command that you can install. So once you go and hit enter, it will connect to the internet and you can see here it's installed. So it's installed. So it's installed. Then what you need to do is, right, you can go and ask it to write. So then you can run this command asdoc, that's the command name, PC core, and this the correlation command, correlations, and it says, okay, save this file as correlation matrix. Right, and you can just run this. Then you can see that this is the thing, and directly the file is written to a document file. And you can just click on this and it will open a nicely formatted professional table without ChatGPT or anything. A nicely formatted, professionally formatted table. This is where you can use asdoc command. So don't worry about that. These are some advanced analytics if you want to really, put your file into a document like a Word file. So I did not write any of these things. I asked ChatGPT to write me the command. Or easiest way is just generate the correlation coefficient as I told you using the command lines and put that to what we call ChatGPT, and it will prepare the table for you. Right. So we are using ChatGPT as an assistant. We are not dependent on it. We use it as an assistant. We know what it's doing and it's assisting us. So using AI for assistance, I don't think anything is wrong with that. But if you are completely forging an assignment, it's not assistance, it's dependence. You become a slave of technology. The technology should be slaves of us, not the way around. Okay. So if you know how to use AI as well as how to use this data analytics and other things, I don't know where you would end, right? Even the sky would not set a limit for you. Right? So that's the skill we require. That's the attitude and the skill we require from our graduates, from you. Okay, right. I think those are the things I want to share with you. So just the bottom line is this. So I taught you today what's correlation analysis, the difference between correlation and causation I taught you. There is in fact a difference. Then I taught you how to pick pictorial as a picture to show the correlation analysis, that is scatter plot diagram. And then I taught you how to perform the correlation analysis and interpret the result. There I particularly emphasized the importance of the significance level. Look at always the significance level. If the significance level is less than 0.05, only interpret the result. If it is above, don't say that there is a positive or negative correlation. And also I taught you how to use ChatGPT to format tables, right? And also, finally, I taught you how to run the sdoc command, which if you did not understand, just forget it. Yes, students, any questions? That's the thing I want to discuss today. Now I would like to take any questions. Questions? Is it clear? By the way, if you want any Excel commands to be written, you can ask ChatGPT to write that as well. Excel formulas. If formula, you give the scenario and it will write exactly as you want. VBA commands to write it. Ask it to write, it will write the VBA commands, right? And it's a matter of just running the VBA command, and within seconds it will do what you require. It might have taken hours, you can do within seconds, right? So ChatGPT is a very powerful engine, and there are better ones as well, but ChatGPT is a general purpose one for me. I'm using that every maybe 5 minutes time. I'm using that for my productivity, to increase my productivity. Right. Seems there are no questions. Seems it's clear. So I think now it's almost 10:30, so we shall finish for today, and we'll meet on Friday to continue our discussion on regression analysis. We have completed now descriptive analysis, and today we completed correlation analysis, and on Friday we shall discuss regression analysis. Okay, is that clear? So my request to you, Buddha, please again and again perform this analysis using Stata. The program is with you, the videos are with you, the notes are with you. Now it's your turn to practice, right? Your turn to practice. And if you do not understand something, bring that to the class. We'll discuss. Okay. Okay, Buddha. So with that, then we'll complete for today. Thank you very much, and wish you a good night. Please take care.
Sir,
Thank you, Buddha. Good night. Please take
Thank
care.
you, sir.
Thank you, Buddha.
sir,
Thank you,
excuse sir,
sir.
Thank you, Buddha. Good night. Good night.
excuse sir.
Thank you, Buddha. Good night. Please take care.
Excuse me sir, QR code නැද්ද?
නේ අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මේ ඉන්න කියන ළමයිට පොඩක් කියන්න පුතා. QR code එක කියන්නේ මට මේ අමතකුණා නේ ඒක. පොඩක් කියන්න පුතා. මට තප්පරයක් තියෙන. So හොඳ වෙලාවට මතක් කරේ. So students, little bit wait, huh? කවුරු හරි ගියා නම් එන්න කියලා නැවත to take the QR code. Indeed, I completely forgot that. So give me a moment till I get the QR code. So please ask the students, if anyone had left, ask them to come. අපි QR code එක දාගන්න මට ඒකම තුනේ. මට විනාඩි දෙන්න පුතා till I prepare this. QR code එක දාන්න නම් බලන්න. අලුත් එක QR එකක් දාන්න. Right session. So it's 20th now. අපි පුතා lecture එක පටන් ගත්තේ 7ටනේ. That's 19. And then අපි